the inner critic. Do you know what that is? That voice. That voice that can knock you sideways, can evoke doubt, confusion, anxiety. And yet, it's part of us. For me, when I heard the archetype of the inner critic and how it is found within your luteal phase, it changed my life, really. Because we start to see how this impacts the way we do anything. So when we look at our cycle, we see that post-ovulation, and as you come halfway into that luteal phase, and you're probably hitting into your inner autumn, that reflective stage, that voice starts to come out. And for me, I hear it so clearly, should I say, but I also see it. First thing in the morning, there is so much noise. There is noise internally within my head. So many words, so many thoughts, so many to-dos, so many I should haves, so many I shouldn't haves. And they rumble, and they're in there. And this creates a real fog that can slow down the external processes. So what do I mean by that? Well, it's not that you're not capable in your luteal phase. It's having the opportunity to express and let go. And I think this is really important in your luteal phase. I think it's important throughout most of your cycle, to be completely honest with you. But here, as we step into that reflective phase, this is where we're called inwards. This is where we're asked to slow down, and we see that our progesterone, that it is a wonderful hormone. And the way I feel it is like the mother hug. I love that from the Red School, the mother hug. It's that, and as that develops, it's a real pulling down of the skin. And for some of us, it can feel like a heavy pull. It can feel like a weight. It can verge on slightly depressing feelings, very, very low. And this can feel so scary. But when you are supported to understand the emotional landscape of your cycle, things begin to shift. And it is here that you start to see that calling inwards is actually a really wonderful opportunity for reflection. And when we look at, if we are business women, business people, this is such a great time to look at what has been working for you and what hasn't. What needs to be cut off, what needs to die, so that what needs to grow can. Because if we are hanging on to the past in a desperate effort for it to be something other than what it can never be, you are halting your future. And this is the power of emotion. I know I sound like a broken record, but your emotional health is the foundation for all other health. All other health. Because the way you feel about yourself is how you are going to absorb life. And there is many research papers out there now, so much information on this, as to how we feel about ourselves that creates the well-being and the health that we have. As a woman, when you utilize, when you tune into your cycle, great things can happen. You learn a deeply nourishing language that allows you to understand yourself and understand how you can move through life. And this has been a missing component throughout many women's lives. when we look at female health and we see the disparity between understanding and moving forwards on symptoms, when we look at how long it takes for women to receive diagnosis, it is all from this standpoint. Emotionally, our language has been very controlled, manipulated, and, to be honest, broken. We haven't had the language, we haven't had the space to understand, to learn what these feelings are, what these emotions are. And so they become chaotic, they become manic, they become depressive, they become overwhelming, and we become characterized in a very small box. And we now appreciate that one woman's cycle is so unique and individual. And that luteal phase, that inner autumn, is a really deep void where the lack of time, appreciation, understanding puts us in that really small box of PMS, PMDD. All of these things, all of these symptoms are real, down to menstrual pain. You know, I was talking to a friend the other day and we were saying how, you know, she had experienced such bad periods that she's so happy to be on medication because they were so bad. But when you look at the language that we had, you know, growing up, all I got was a hot water bottle. When I first started my bleeds, it was a hot water bottle. And then when I was allowed to have some ibuprofen, I was given the but that was it. And so you endured a lot, but you think that that's normal. That's normal. And that narrative in your head, the pain, the absolute pain that you go through, whether it's mentally, emotionally, or physically, you believe that that is part of being a woman, and that bleeds through not just your cycle, but through everything, right? And so when we look at how we deal with that luteal phase, we look at that language, and what we see about the inner critic is that actually, though that negative voice is a real frothy top, and this is what I've learned about myself, it is a real frothy top. That negativity, that negative voice makes you feel less than. And so that impacts the way you do your work because you are anxious about getting it wrong. You don't feel like, or you don't have the energy to go all in. And so mistakes are made, which further exacerbates your belief that you aren't good enough. You can start to see the cycle, can't you? But when we can take some time out within this phase, when we can just pause and listen, you drop beneath that negative voice. And what I found for myself was that voice was saying to me, Abigail, slow down. Don't start a new project here. You haven't even finished the last one, to be fair. Story of my life. But not now, obviously. Moving forwards, onwards and upwards. You haven't even finished the last one. If you do this now, you're going to prove to yourself that you are incapable. Rest, restore, and begin again in the next cycle when you've got the energy and the power to do so, when you've got the language, the communication. How powerful is that? And so reducing my load at this phase is crucial for me in reducing stress. I don't want to be stressed. I don't need to be stressed. Because it takes a different kind of fuel at this point in my life where it can zap. It can knock me off my feet. And if that does happen, that's fine. I know that I can rest. I choose to rest, but it doesn't have to happen. So I invite you to look at that inner critic. When does it show up? How does it show up? How do you converse with it? Because I tell you what, you can have some really great conversations with this inner critic. It has so many boundaries. More so than what we do. Looking at how it impacts the way that you work, the way that you care, the way that you look after yourself. And if we can start to put in place spaces within our work that can create more time for reflection. I'm not asking you to sit in meditation the whole day. But what I am asking you to do is to reflect and to create space. The easiest things for that are journaling. It's like meditation in motion. Journal first thing in the morning, get it all out. Look. Simple. Go for a walk, take your phone, dictate. Simple. You're getting it all out, and then you can reflect on that. And sometimes you can get the cues you need to move forwards. The inner critic isn't a voice you need to be afraid of. It's a voice that you need to befriend. Because it really is on your side. We just misunderstand the language because it feels like it's speaking in a foreign language to what we are, which is all about slowing down when we are trying to run even faster to prove that we are adequate, even at this point when we're feeling so tired. So the language of your luteal phase, transforming it from the inner critic to one of an ally that allows you to chart strategy going forwards, to cut away what no longer needs to be carried, so that you can reduce your stress and create clear, confident communication and fulfilling relationships. And that can all be found within the cycle. Phenomenal. Any questions, any insights? I'd love to hear from you. So please do share. Take it easy.